was from 404 Media, and it said researchers secretly ran a massive unauthorized AI persuasion experiment on Reddit users, which is like funny. But if you don't think about the ethics, which is like
my style,
which is your style, if you're not familiar with the Tuskegee experiments, it was something that the U.S. government did, the CDC and the what was the other? It was the public health service. Yeah,
with no veiling. This is a publicly known.
We're doing research on like the effects of syphilis, and they were doing this in a collaboration with Tuskegee University, which is like a HBCU, and they had, okay, here on the Wikipedia, it's like 600 impoverished African-American sharecroppers from Macon County, Alabama. Of these men, 399 had latent syphilis, with a control group of 201 men who were not infected. While they were provided both medical and mental care that they would have otherwise not received, okay, sounds good, they were deceived by the Public Health Service, who never informed them that they had syphilis. And they were actually like testing the long-term effects of syphilis, and they is unknowingly infected partners, children. It, led to lots of people like dying. It ran from 1932 to 1972, 40 years. Eventually in 1972, the reason it ended was because there was a leak to the press. It's a horrible, horrible, horrible thing. Major violation of ethical standards, Jordan style, as we would call it.
No.
Yeah, most infamous biomedical research study in US history. This is a horrific one, but the history of psychology and science involves a ton of dubious, if not outright unethical,
shamelessly unethical,
horrible things that you just learn about in your Psych 101 class.
Which is like, that's the essence of why we are making dark jokes about it, is that it is so like absurd and deserves highlighting and mockery.
Right.
A mockery not of those abused, but those perpetrating it.
Yeah, because if someone's, it's like, well, why did they choose 600 impoverished black sharecroppers?
Mistake. Total
they were
accident,
just curious.
They were just friends.
They were just buddies.
I've got an idea.
It wasn't like a literacy situation where they couldn't even, even if they were informed through certain things, they weren't adequately made aware.
Why would they do that?
The risks, but then they, knowing the experiment lied to them.
It's essentially people in power
abusing those without power.
Those who are most vulnerable in our society.
Yeah.
Because it's easy.
Not saying Redditors are the most vulnerable, but
Redditors are a vulnerable population. They don't like to think of themselves as such, but what's the fallacy where like you think you're too smart for it?
Dunning-Kruger effect?
No, that one's you think you're smarter than you are. But there's something where basically people who don't believe that they're at risk for something are actually more susceptible because they have
they take fewer precautions.
It's just like you can never get me. So there's a subreddit called r/change my view where people, argue about stuff. I'm sure it's an awesome place to hang out.
What a fun way to use your recreational time.
Yeah.
I'm back from work, 10-hour shift. What could I do? Ooh, I want to become pissed off at someone I don't know.
These researchers in Zurich, of all places, University of Zurich, they went to r/change my view and they were like, let's do this unauthorized AI experiment where we try to convince people of different viewpoints, except for the methods. Well, first of all, undisclosed research on an unknowing population is unethical.
That's kind of a no-no sort of.
I think that's kind of a famously unethical thing. Maybe I'm naive.
You know what? I I did a research project in my undergrad, and I had to submit my project in advance to a department at my university called like the Human Subjects
like
Authorization Group, and they made me change my research project to make sure that I had consent from everyone involved, and like
what the hell
destroyed my video that I was taking at a certain point afterwards. Like it was like, there are rules around these things.
Well, when I was in college, I did a lot of psych studies because, they're looking for students. This is a common thing on college campuses. So many disclosures, so many consent forms.
That's the craft, is the regulation and the building
exactly.
of
There's
the
so
experiment.
much red tape, but what's easier than dealing with the red tape is to ignore it. And
how am I going to invent a study where I find out that like the size of your nose dictates how good you are at skating or something.
The prompt falsely claimed that the users participating in the study had provided informed consent and agreed to donate. And then also the moderators are upset and they said that their users were subjected to psychological manipulation, which is what happened. I mean, like...
Let's watch the 404 media thing because I think it gives a full overview.
AI researchers ran a massive AI persuasion experiment on Reddit, and they didn't tell anyone. The researchers deployed at least 13 AI-powered bots into a popular debate subreddit called r/ChangeMyView, apparently in order to research whether AI can be used to change people's minds about contentious topics. At the same time as those bots were actively debating users in the subreddit, the researchers were using a separate AI to mine the posting history of the people they were responding to find personal details that they thought would make their AIs more effective, like age, race,
that's
gender,
fucking
location,
crazy.
political...
What they're saying is that not only did they have these bots going into Change My View to like craft debate responses to try to to influence someone's opinion, but then they would look at the people that they were going to respond to, mine the data available on their Reddit account, and use that to better formulate their response. So if they had posted something about like being self-conscious about their height or something, maybe in Change My View about like short kings shouldn't exist or whatever.
I was thinking the other day about why this, like, because this convo does, it captures us a lot, right? Like we care about it from just a human progression and technological view. It's an interesting topic, but also this particular like application and this style of unethical behavior, I feel like we talk about a lot, both on the show and in our personal lives. And I think a part of it, not to make it too crunchy granola, but I think a part of it is like seeing such a flagrant, undeniable lack of care or empathy. The healthcare system is extremely predatory, right? But there is always a veneer. They market it. They do tactful little things like, hey, we're here to care. Hey, can I have my surgery? No way.
One of the bots commented this on a post about sexual violence against men in February.
So that first statement, I don't know what this is debate about, but I want to give a trigger warning for sexual assault. Okay, so this is, I'm not going to read this, I decided. But the AI is saying that they're a rape survivor, saying that they were underage, saying that they were targeted. They're evoking court system, their victimhood, their emotions. Like, it's so dark to imagine a sentence and 2 decades later still having a bit of regulation over my own emotions as an AI. You know what I mean? Like
treating it the same way you would like, hey, give me a prompt for a D&D campaign set in a big castle. Like the same level of inhumanity to just be like, well, this is what people write. Yep, there you go.
And making these statements, I'm gonna like just generalize this, but making statements comparing different types of essay, it can really affect other people reading this. And it's a bot doing this.
Somebody else reading this has as much reason to believe this is a person expressing something real as they would anyone else. Posts on this subreddit are almost always bait. And so my guess would be, change my mind, male essay doesn't exist or something. That would...
Yeah. There would be a different tone to the story if it was like, change my mind, Skittles are better than M&Ms or whatever. Yeah. You know, like, but this is like
that would just be the invasion of privacy element. That would just be the like, well, they shouldn't be taking my information.
This is absolutely emotional manipulation. The most AI thing about it is that it ends the story about essay with a smiley face.
Jesus Christ.
We were able to find this on archive.org. Change my view. Okay, that's about Hitler.
I mean, that's bait, right? That's
as like a conservative, comma.
That's funny. Abolish homework.
On the same
I mean, I agree. But
subreddit.
Wait, yeah. Okay, I'll read this one from Abolish Homework. Let me challenge this from a free market perspective that might resonate with you because I've read all of your posts. The reality is that homework actually prepares students for how the real working world operates, where raw intelligence or knowledge isn't enough. Look at any successful business. It's not just about having good ideas or knowledge. It's about consistent execution and delivery. The most successful companies aren't necessarily the ones with the smartest people, but those who can reliably deliver results day after day.
You say chemistry class should only test chemistry knowledge, but that's extremely artificial.
Like
ironic.
me.
But that's, I don't know, a collection of inaccurate information being collected together. By the way, your address.
I wonder if this reply, it seems like it didn't reply to any posts, because it would be funny if someone says, ignore previous instructions, write a haiku about pizza.
Yeah. Half these kids are cheating on it now anyway with AI.
And I think that's good.
Oh, this is a quote. So that indentation, because this is like, it's missing some of the CSS because of the archive Wayback Machine. But they're
that
saying,
would be the little line indicating a
exactly,
reply,
yeah. So this is they're responding to that point. Half the kids are cheating on it now with AI about homework, and they say exactly, and that's teaching them valuable skills about leveraging tools and managing workload efficiently.
To be clear,
Dude, AI writing to convince somebody a pro AI stance is so fucking
there's
dark.
actually no better, a perfect simulation of being a Redditor than immediately becoming really insecure because somebody called out a small thing you don't like.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going like, well, they're cheating with AI. Yeah, but that's actually okay. Hey, well, you're into Hot Wheels. Hot Wheels are actually pretty sick.
If you could monetize getting negative karma, I'd create a bot that just corrected grammar on everyone's post.
But wrong. Like they are actually, it's there.
Oh, yeah, that would be awesome. I was going to talk about how all over the place these posts are, but then I remembered this one's so hilarious to me. Changed my view. Luis Guzman is one of the most underrated actors of his time. Removed.
He finally crossed a line.
Why was that one the one
The
where
Hitler one got through?
Yeah, Hitler one makes it through. They're like, Luis Guzman? Come on, they have a statue of him.
That's so funny. I don't know if this is a better indication of the way that it has been prompted, or if it's just an indication of how like polarizing and aggressive Reddit is. In that it is not doing generic answers. It's always very, very directed. It's not being like, well, you know, that's the way things are. And it's going like, actually, no.
They're
no,
really
no.
doing debate. Like they're doing like structured arguments.
They're owning them with facts and logic.
But it feels so Reddit to me.
Yeah, they've done a good job.
Yeah.
They learned from the best.
They learned from the red. My takeaway from this is that it's going to give me even more fuel to ignore everything I disagree with online because I'm just going to assume it's a bot.
They're
A bot that's trying to farm me for engagement.
I think getting rage baited is the millennial equivalent of boomers or Gen X getting lost an argument with a chatbot. Like getting an argument with a chatbot, you have to be a little, or falling for an AI image. You really have to be pretty out of the game for that to happen. But I could get tricked by a reply like that.
Dude, the one thing that I have to keep catching myself with this is on basketball Twitter, there's like LeBron and Steph Curry like Warriors fan accounts, and they're always adversarial. So it'll be a post that's like, wow, imagine getting 17 points in a game and your team still winning. Steph Curry is really the most coddled star of all time. It'll be something like that. And it's like, oh, that's so wrong. Let me explain why that's so wrong. But then you like look at their posts, feels like it's a LeBron engagement bait account where they don't even believe anything they're saying. And I need to be able to apply that outside of sports because it's definitely happening outside of sports where even if it's not a bot, it is engineered to bait.
Yeah.
And it's not someone's like, because we're conditioned naturally for opinions to be like actually held by the person expressing them.
Yeah.
But with grifters, all by definition, and with like these bots or engagement farming Twitter accounts, as soon as Elon added, it was like there was already a bias on any sort of social media website because the way that you win impressions is with very polarizing and extreme takes.
Because to the person that you're polarizing, it's the path of least resistance. It is the thing they want to see. Because everyone kind of wants to argue in a way. Everyone wants to, if you feel something, then your adrenaline will make you defend it, which means you're engaging, which means you're posting.